first book is called Never Love Again. You are on the Onlyer channel. The first chapter is called Honeymoon Period, and in the first and only scene, we see David and Naomi going on a date, where they are imbued with loving feelings for each other. The second chapter is called Peeping. In the first scene, Naomi witnesses David pick up the boss, inviting the latter on a romantic date, in which the guy becomes deeply imbued with feelings that are obviously not mutual. The third chapter is called Caught Cheating. In the first scene, David and Naomi meet. In the second scene, Naomi witnesses a new romance between David and the boss. As a result, Naomi and David break off their relationship. The next chapter is called Haunted. In the first scene, Naomi and David break up. In the second scene, Naomi dies and David suffers for her. In the third scene, David dies and Naomi's ghost is waiting for him at the grave. In the last scene, the ghosts of Naomi and David are fighting. Chapter: Amnesia. In the first scene, the couple breaks up. In the second scene, David loses his memory. In the third scene, JWIT falls in love with Naomi all over again, which, by the way, is perplexed by what's happening. Chapter: Make a Peace. In the first scene, the couple broke up. In the second scene, Naomi has amnesia. In the third scene, Naomi fell in love with David again. David then loses his memory and falls in love with Naomi again. In the last scene, the couple finds peace again. Very funny chapter, scaring myself. In the first scene, David dies tragically. Already in the second scene, David experiences amnesia, which in itself is very strange. In the third scene, David saw himself in the mirror as a ghost and this makes him very scared to death. Tragedy and comedy, otherwise it's not clear. And the last chapter in this book is Soulmates. In the first scene, David and Naomi break up. Then they take turns getting amnesia. As a result, David dies, and Naomi is left alone. Then Naomi dies, and David wanders around her grave in obscurity. After all, he doesn't remember anything. Eventually the couple fell in love again, even after death. Well, such a development of events. The book is called Bitter Romance. In the chapter 1 is called First Encounter. The first scene begins at the pool. Cowherd accidentally meets Weaver. She is obviously not very happy about this development. Maybe she's naked. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 2 is called Reunion. The first scene opens at the pool, with Cowherd again staring at Weaver. In the second scene, Cowherd did not see Weaver, but he obviously really wants to see her. Maybe she's hiding. Write in the comments what you think about this. In the third scene, Weaver falls in love with Cowherd, but it seems to me that he is not very happy about the meeting. Maybe he has already changed his mind. Chapter 3 is called Dying with a Smile. Creepy name. Oh well, let's move on. The first scene begins with Weaver, who falls in love with Cowherd. In the second scene, Weaver suddenly dies, and Cowherd is left alone with a broken heart. As expected from the previous scene, Cowherd dies. Perhaps the smile never appeared. What did he die from? From a smile. The most mysterious story. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 4 is called Human Ghost Love. I personally immediately imagine a horror movie script. The first scene begins with Weaver, who falls in love with Cowherd. In the second scene, an angry boar pushes Cowherd off a cliff. That's why you shouldn't walk on the edge of a cliff in the forest. In the third scene, Cowherd has died and Weaver is left alone with a broken heart. In the fourth scene, Luna pours the potion on Cowherd's grave. Do you think she might be a witch? Write in the comments what do you think. In the fifth scene, Cowherd's ghost returns to Weaver, and she fell in love again. I hope she was really happy to see him. This would make me shit my pants and then quickly run away from there. Chapter 5 is called Heartbroken. In the first scene, Cowherd and Weaver start dating. In the second scene, Cowherd suddenly dies and Weaver is left alone with a broken heart. In the third scene, Weaver has died. I do not understand why. Write in the comments, what do you think about this? Chapter 6 is called Till Death Do Us Part. Again a fun name, ironic and mysterious. In the first scene, Cowherd and Weaver start dating. In the second scene, Cowherd suddenly dies and Weaver is left alone with a broken heart. In the third scene, Weaver has died, and it seems like everything. But the story doesn't end there. In the fourth scene, Luna pours a potion on Weaver's grave. In the fifth scene, Luna pours a potion on Cowherd's grave. In scene 6, will they be willing to continue their relationship after death? I'm kind of a little shocked by this turn of events. Write in the comments, what do you think about this? Chapter 7 is called Stolen Clothes. In the first scene, Cowherd caught Weaver in the pool. In the second scene, Cowherd persuades a cow to steal Weaver's things. In the third scene, Weaver is naked. I don't even know how to comment on this. Write in the comments. Chapter 8 is called Framed Cowherd. In the first scene, Cowherd caught Weaver in the pool. In the second scene, Cowherd persuades a cow to steal Weaver's things. In the third scene, Weaver is naked and in the fourth scene, the cow still betrays Cowherd. I think that now it will not be sweet for him. Write in the comments, what do you think about this? Chapter 9 is called Once in a Lifetime. The first scene begins with Weaver, who falls in love with Cowherd. Second scene, Cowherd meets Weaver on the bridge. Chapter 10 Pure Taboo. The first scene begins with Weaver, who falls in love with Cowherd. Second scene, Cowherd meets Weaver on the bridge. The third scene takes place again on the bridge. Cowherd tells Weaver about his plans for the cow. In the fourth scene, the cow is still not against relationships. Thank you very much for watching the video. The book is called Classroom Battle. Chapter 1 is called Confiscated Phone. The first scene begins in a classroom. The teacher is interviewing Clarence. Clearly Clarence didn't prepare the answers, and I decided to cheat. In the second scene, Clarence turned off the lights. In the third scene in the dark, the teacher notices the light from Clarence's smartphone during class. Write in the comments, did your teachers catch you with your phone in class? Chapter 2 is called Exposed Plan. The first scene begins in a classroom. The teacher is interviewing Clarence. In the second scene, Clarence turned off the lights. Maybe he's hiding. In the third scene in the dark, the teacher notices the light from Clarence's smartphone during class. In the fourth scene, the teacher witnesses what is happening in the classroom. In the fifth scene, Clarence decides to steal the answers from the teacher's desk. Write in the comments, did you steal the answers? Chapter 3 is called Camouflage. In the first scene, Clarence turned off the lights. In the second scene in the dark, the teacher notices the light from Clarence's smartphone during class. In the third scene, Clarence changes into a dragon costume. In the fourth scene, the teacher witnesses what is happening in the classroom. In the fifth scene, the dragon steals the answers. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 4 is called M Monster. I personally immediately imagine a horror movie script. In the first scene, Clarence dresses up in a dragon costume. In the second scene, the teacher witnesses what is happening in the classroom. In the third scene, the dragon steals the answers. In the fourth scene, Clarence dresses up as a student again. In the fifth and final scene, the teacher questions Clarence. Write in the comments, Clarence will be able to answer all your questions. The book is called Ascension. Chapter 1 is called Collect 2 Herbs. The first scene takes place in the garden, where the suffering Luna gathers or yearns for her first plant. The second scene takes place in Toxweed, where the suffering Luna yearns for her second plant. Luna, a strange chapter. The main thing is that the plants are legal. We all know what this can mean. Write in the comments what do you think about this. Chapter 2 is called Poisoned Medicine. The first scene begins in Toxweed where Luna shows Frost her miracle plant. In the second scene, the alchemy location, Luna performs the ritual. I personally don't know what we're talking about. Write in the comments what do you think about this. In the third scene in the trade location, Luna and Frost discuss how this plant can be used for medicinal purposes. In the fourth scene, Frost discovers a witchcraft vessel with an unknown composition. Could this be the beginning of Doomsday? Write in the comments. Chapter 3 is called Frame Up. In the first scene, Luna finds an unusual place sticking out in the ground. I don't know what she's up to. But then events take an unexpected turn. In the second scene the boar sees that the sword has been stolen. In the third scene the boar is as angry as a devil. Finds Luna in the forest, and suspects Frost of theft. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 4 is called Runaway. In the first scene, Luna finds an unusual place sticking out in the ground. I don't know what she's up to. But then events take an unexpected turn. In the second scene the boar sees that the sword has been stolen. In the third scene in the trade location, Luna and Frost discuss how this plant can be used for medicinal purposes. In the fourth scene, the boar is as angry as a devil. Finds Luna in the forest, and suspects Frost of theft. In the fifth scene, Frost is pushed off a cliff by a boar. Write in the comments, did Frost crash? In the sixth scene, Frost curses at Luna. It's an obvious setup, isn't it? Who do you think is betraying everyone here? Chapter 5 is called Metamorphosis. The first scene begins in the Storywriter location. Frost meets Lynx. He looks like a cat. He must be very dangerous. The second scene is located in the trade location. Frost did something to Lynx. Write in the comments what do you think about this. Chapter 6 is called Fall for You. The first scene begins in the Storywriter location. Frost meets Lynx again. This time we are waiting for a different outcome of events. The second scene is located in the trade location. Frost did something to Lynx and now the cat looks like a human being. The third scene takes place in the love. Frost is interested in a female humanoid creature. What a twist. I wonder if something will work out for them. The book is called Peerless Sword. Chapter 1 is called Stolen Sword. The first scene takes place in a magical field, where Frost finds a sword sticking out of the ground. But when the boar appears, the sword has been stolen. In the second scene, the boar comes to the magic field alone and discovers that the sword is missing. The boar is furious. It looks like Frost won't get off easy. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 2 is called Lost and Regind. In the first scene, the boar comes to the field and sees the sword. In the second scene, Frost comes and takes the sword. In the third scene, the boar comes to the field again and does not find the sword. He's confused. In the fourth scene, Frost returns the sword to its place. Prank on a boar. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 3 is called Slain Lynx. In the first scene, Frost takes the sword. In the second scene, Frost kills Lynx. In the third scene, we see Lynx's grave, which is visited by a boar. Apparently he's grieving for his friend. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 4 is called Killing Spree. In the first scene, Aaron is pushed off a cliff by a boar. This is why you should not walk in the mountains with wild animals. In the second scene, the boar pushes Luna. It is obvious that the boar becomes a serial killer. In the third scene, Frost is pushed off a cliff by a boar. Daxter's justice. In the fourth scene we see that all the heroes are buried. So no one survived after that. The boar is roaming free. The book is called The Supernatural. Chapter 1 is called A Gift from Alien. In the first scene we start in the outskirts location, where Calvin finds Alien. Calvin is horrified by what he sees, but we notice that Alien was upset about something. In the second scene, Calvin decided to give Alien a treat. Gave him an apple. Alien rejoiced. In the third scene, Alien gave Calvin his superpowers. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 2 is called Save the Boss. In the first scene, Calvin discovered the boss drowning in the lake. He's shocked. In the second scene, Calvin uses his new superpowers to save the boss. It turns out that he now has telekinesis, able to move objects with the power of thought. In the third scene, Calvin admits to Boss that he is now a superhero. And she is embarrassed by this. Write in the comments what you think about this. I think Boss fell in love with him. Chapter 3 is called The Only Friend. In the first scene, Boss meets Alien. He is upset and crying. In the second scene, Wade saw Alien. Everything is exactly the same as in the first case. And in the third scene, Alien is left all alone. In the fourth scene, Alien receives a gift. An apple from Calvin. He's happy now. Please write how you can explain this. Chapter 4 is called, No Pranks Allowed. In the first scene, Alien demonstrates his boss abilities. I wonder what they were up to. Intrigue. In the second scene, Calvin found the boss floating in the air. He is shocked by what he sees. In the third scene, Calvin shows off his new powers. What a strange boy this Calvin is. I think real heroes hide their gift. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 5 is called, Rival in Love. In the first scene, Calvin plays the piano for the boss. She admires his playing of a musical instrument. In the second scene, Calvin plays for Irina. She also appreciates the guy's talent. In the third scene, the girls meet and learn the truth about Calvin. Write in the comments what you think about this. I think Calvin is a womanizer. Chapter 6 is called, Forced to Go Home. In the first scene, Calvin gives an apple to Alien. In the second scene, Alien comes again for apples, but Calvin tells him that there are no more apples. In the third scene, Alien was upset that there was nothing more that could keep him on this planet Earth. In the fourth scene, Alien teleports away in his UFO. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 7 is called, None Compare to Him. In the first scene, Irina meets Alien, but she is looking for Calvin. In the second scene, he meets Wade and is still looking for Calvin. In the third scene, Irina finally managed to meet Calvin. Chapter 8 is called, Only You Know Me. In the first scene, Calvin plays for Irina, but she will no longer appreciate his talent. In the second scene, Calvin communicates with the boss, where she told him she wanted to hear him play. In the third scene, Calvin plays for the boss, and she is delighted. Do you think they suit each other? Or is Irina the best match for Calvin? Chapter 9 is called, Jealousy. In the first scene, Irina learned about Calvin's superpowers. In the second scene, Irina decides to inform the government about this. This sends Calvin into a panic. In the third scene, Calvin asks the boss for help. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 10 is called, New Love. In the first scene, Irina is looking for Calvin, but no one has seen him. In the second scene, Irina continues her search but to no avail. In the third scene, Irina meets Wade and tells everything about Calvin. The book is called, Life Winner. Chapter 1 is called, Audience Needed. In the first scene, Calvin plays the piano alone. In the second scene, he has a fan. Irina immediately fell in love with Calvin. In the third scene, the boss appears. She also fell in love with a guy. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 2 is called, Love Transfer. In the first scene, Irina meets her rival, but their conversation revolves around Calvin. In the second scene, Irina wants Calvin to be only hers. And she is ready to fight for her love. In the third scene, Irina fell in love with an alien. In the fourth scene, Irina is ready to give him her phone number. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 3 is called, Innocent Bystander. In the first scene, Wade tells the alien about his superpowers. In the second scene, the alien gives powers to the boss. In the third scene, the boss masters levitation. Write in the comments, what superpower do you want to get? Chapter 4 is called, Mind Reading. In the first scene, Calvin confesses his feelings for her to Boss. In the second scene, Calvin brags to the client about his superpowers. In the third scene, Calvin wants to get paid for his services. It looks like the client agreed. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 5 is called, The Second Rescue. In the first scene, Calvin saw the boss being abducted by a UFO. He's terrified, shocked. In the second scene, boss confesses his love for Calvin and demands an answer. In the third scene, Calvin tells the alien about his love affairs. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 6 is called, New Friend. In the first scene, Wade meets Calvin. It looks like Calvin is not very happy about this meeting. In the second scene, Calvin shows off his new powers. In the third scene, Wade demands the same superpowers from the alien. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 7 is called, Who's the Bride? In the first scene, Calvin finds Irina, but he doesn't want her as a bride. In the second scene, Calvin met Wade. Looks like he's not happy again. Who does Calvin want? Write in the comments. In the third scene, Calvin met an alien. And again I'm dissatisfied with the choice. In the fourth scene, Calvin finally met his love. It's the boss. Well, who would have thought? Chapter 8 is called, Love Magic. In the first scene, Irina meets her rival, but the conversation doesn't work out. How can girls find a compromise? Write in the comments. In the second scene, Irina meets an alien. He gave her superpowers. In the third scene, the alien gives powers to the boss. What a turn. In the fourth scene, Irina fell in love with the boss. And it looks like it's mutual between them. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 9 is called, Should I Save Her? A rhetorical question faces our heroes. In the first scene, the alien kidnaps Irina while Irina is looking for Calvin. In the second scene, Calvin learns from the alien about Irina's feelings. He is puzzled to say the least. In the third scene, Calvin realizes that Irina is missing, and the alien is kidnapping people all over the world. Please write what you think about this. Chapter 10 is called, The End. The traditional title of the chapter, and it is in canonical traditions. In the first scene, Calvin shows off his talent to the alien. In the second scene, Calvin shows off his talent to the boss. In the third scene, Calvin confesses his love to his client. Unexpectedly, but such is life. In the fourth scene of Calvin plays the piano alone. The last book is called, Crystal Shoes Owner. Let's go. Chapter 1 is called, Prep Before the Ball. In the first scene, the witch stands near the mirror and turns into a fairy. In the second scene, Cinderella stands near the mirror and dreams of a beautiful outfit to go to the ball. In the third scene, Cinderella is again standing near the mirror, but the miracle never happened. In the fourth scene, the witch in the guise of a fairy appears to Cinderella and uses magic to dress her up like a princess. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 2 is called, Only Love's Treasures. In the first scene, the witch stands near the mirror and turns into a fairy. In the second scene, the witch in the guise of a fairy appears to Cinderella and uses magic to dress her up like a princess. In the third scene, Cinderella, in her princess guise, accidentally loses her glass slipper. In the fourth scene, the witch in the guise of a fairy appears to Cinderella and, with the help of magic, returns her to her original appearance. In the fifth scene, Cinderella returns back for the glass slipper. Chapter 3 is called Love Token. In the first scene, the witch stands near the mirror and turns into a fairy. In the second scene, the witch in the guise of a fairy appears to Cinderella and uses magic to dress her up like a princess. In the third scene, Cinderella, in her princess guise, accidentally loses her glass slipper. In the fourth scene, the prince finds the glass slipper. Chapter 4 is called Princess's Prank. In the first scene, Cinderella changes into her disguise costume. In the second scene, the prince met disguise instead of the glass slipper. The prince is puzzled to say the least. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 5 is called Found and Lost. In the first scene, the witch stands near the mirror and turns into a fairy. In the second scene, the witch in the guise of a fairy appears to Cinderella and uses magic to dress her up like a princess. In the third scene, the witch at the mirror becomes herself again. Scary and ancient. In the fourth scene, the insidious witch turns Cinderella into a beggar girl. In the fifth scene, the prince met Cinderella, but unfortunately could not recognize her. Maybe he has poor eyesight. Write in the comments what you think about this. Chapter 6 is called Prince and Princess. In the first scene, the real fairy turns Cinderella into a princess. In the second scene, Cinderella loses her glass slipper. In the third scene, the prince finds the glass slipper. He hopes to find the princess too. In the fourth scene, the fairy returns Cinderella to her former appearance. In the fifth scene, the prince met Cinderella and gave her a slipper to put on. The shoe surprisingly fit her foot. In scene 6, the prince confesses his love for Cinderella. It doesn't matter to him that she is a poor girl from a low class. Thank you very much for viewing the video. If you liked the video, give the like and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to ring the bell, so you don't miss interesting gameplay videos. Onlyer was with you. Bye everyone.
Thanks for viewing, friends. Please find the time for subscribe to my channel, Onlyer. Welcome to my channel, Onlyer. I hope this video is useful to you.